Krishna.
Welcome to Bhagavatam Bites. It is the day after Nishringa Chaturdasi, which was full-on day of nectar festivities to celebrate Lord Nishringadev. And then our day has been pretty packed as we get the opportunity to cook the Raj Bhoga for Shri Shri Radha Govinda at the Brooklyn Temple, offer the arti, clean up after, and put their lordships to rest for their afternoon nap. So
Yes.
then we came home, had some of the Mahaprasad, at least I did, and
Put ourselves to rest.
Okay, so we're just doing a quick catch-up. I got another meeting I have to rush for after this, so we are reading from
Canto 4, Chapter 29, Text 50.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 50. Sri Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the Super Soul and guide of all living entities who have accepted material bodies within this world. He is the supreme controller of all material activities and material nature. He is also our best friend, and everyone should take shelter at his lotus feet. In doing so, one's life will be auspicious. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 61, it is said, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hridhi Desh Arjuna Tishtati. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna. The living entities within the body and the Super Soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is also there. He is called Antaryami and Chaitya Guru. As Lord Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 15, he is controlling everything. Sarvasya chaham hridhi shani vishto matasmite gyanam apohanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Interesting, because I was just thinking of this concept kind of ish today. Actually, while we were doing our mammoth service at ISKCON New York, about the Super Soul and how the Super Soul, which is Krishna, it's like sometimes we might be like, oh, Krishna, like why? If you lose the service or you got to move on, it's like, what's up with that, Krishna? And then my realization, what I was thinking was that, no, maybe this was Super Soul giving me this knowledge, because this knowledge came up that, no, you left me first. You came here first
to this material world.
I didn't leave you. It was like, oh, and then I was just expanding on that in my mind when I was doing the service, that, and even though you left me, Krishna speaking, I still followed you, like a transcendental stalker, you could say. You could shake him off. And I was just thinking like that, like, oh yeah. And then I was thinking, like, I don't know what it was in the temple or something, my thought came up, like how you have CCTV, and sometimes it can be a bit like people like, oh, because they're supposed to let you know there's CCTV in operation, and you feel a bit weird, And I was thinking, yeah, but without even asking, really, Krishna is like the CCTV in my life, because he's there, as it says here, in the heart. He's a Super Soul in the heart, and whether you want him to see it or not, he's seeing everything, like a bit nosy, in a good way. And I was just, so it's interesting that then we read this verse and purport about the Super Soul and how he's there. Although the point in the verse about he's also our best friend, that's nice. That's a nice thing to meditate on, best friend, because he doesn't leave you, and he is seeing all the stuff, and he still don't leave you. So anyway, that's all.
Yeah, it's amazing that he Yeah, he's always there. I was just trying to find that. Actually, in the translation, it doesn't say. Doesn't say our best friend, but
Oh dear.
Deha Britam.
Maybe it's that good fortune of men.
Yeah.
Shema Nirnam.
Shemaha Nrinam.
Good fortune of men.
Yeah, so I guess only your friend would give you good fortune, but yeah, Krishna is I mean, but he shows up as our best friend because, like you said, he's always there for us, even after we've turned our back on him so many times. Even he's with us now, knocking perpetually, trying to get us to listen to him, and he still sticks around no matter what we do. Next paragraph, same purport. Everything is being directed by the super soul within the body. Therefore, the better part of valor is to take his direction and be happy. Excuse me, dear Lord.
Bless you.
Allergies, sorry. Confirmed. Therefore, the better part of valor is to take his direction and be happy. To take his directions, one needs to be a devotee. And this is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10:10. Tesham sadata yuktanam bhajatam pratipurvakam didami buddhiyogam tam yena mamupayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Yeah, so this is interesting. Everything is being directed by the Super Soul. Therefore, the better part of valor is to take his direction and be happy. But in order to take his direction, we have to be a devotee. So what does that mean? It means basically we have to be able to hear Krishna within the heart. That means we need to be devoted to God and understanding that he is actually in the heart and he is trying to guide and direct us. And then if we can hear it, then we should be able to take his guidance. I think the big question is how do we know what Super Soul is saying and what the mind is just saying? And sometimes it's like, yeah, well, that's an easy answer because Super Soul will only guide you in a way that is in line with Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, hypothetically. And the mind may guide you to do all kinds of other nonsense. But sometimes it's like, it's especially on things that don't really seem to be necessarily clearly defined by Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Like people often say, well, what job should I get? Where should I move? Where should I live? What type of place should I get? And we can ask ourselves, would this please Krishna? I think we said that the other day. Would this please Krishna? And try to understand how we're being inspired from within. So we may open ourselves to listen, and sometimes we may not hear anything coming back. It's like, okay, how many times do we go to the deities and say, please just give me a sign? And of course, sometimes there may be a very clear sign, and we may be ignoring it because we don't want to go that direction. That's also possible. Anyway, quite a few things on this, trying to understand the Super Soul.
Where did you stop?
Although the Super Soul is in everyone's heart.
Alright, because this doesn't have indentations.
Uh-huh.
Although the Super Soul is in everyone's heart, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Riddhi Desha Arjuna Tishtati, he talks only to the pure devotees who constantly engage in his service. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antya 3.45, it is said, Tahare se bali vidya mantra adhyayana, Krishna pada padme ye kara ye stira mana. The one who has fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna is to be understood as having the best education and as having studied all the Vedas. There are also other appropriate quotes in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Se si vidyara pala jani ha nishchaya Krishna pada padme yati chitta vritti raya. The perfect result of an education is the fixing of one's mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. Digvijaya Kariba Vidyara Karya Nahe. Ishvare Bajile Se Vidya Satya Kahe. Conquering the world by means of material education is not desirable. If one engages himself in devotional service, his education is perfected. Am I reading into your bit?
No, I don't have another bit.
Okay.
As it were.
Padekene loka Krishna Bhakti Jani Bare Se Yadi Nahila Tabe Vidyaya Ki Kare. The purpose of education is to understand Krishna and his devotional service. If one does not do so, then education is false. Tahare se bali dharma kama sadachara. Ishvare se priti janme sammata sabara. Being cultured, educated, very active and religious means developing natural love for Krishna. Everyone has dormant love for Krishna, and by culture and education that has to be awakened. That is the purpose of this Krishna consciousness movement. Once Lord Chaitanya asked Sri Ramananda Rai what the best part of education was, and Ramananda Rai replied that the best part of education is advancement in Krishna consciousness. Well, there you go. There you go. It's interesting. Yesterday at the festival, I was just people watching because there's a lot of people there. And, oh yeah, what was it? Oh God. I won't name the devotee here, but I'll tell you may guess. I'll tell you afterwards. It's quite funny. When we got back from the Harinam, we were in the temple room, and one devotee who had been there donkey's years, very sweet man, and two young Indian gentlemen. I was behind this devotee, so they came up to him first and said, "What's going on? What's going on?" And because they didn't know, and he said, "Yes, no, Shinga Day, it's the Parents' Day," and it's a kind of a big deal, yeah, like that. I mean, very sincerely, he's American, very sincerely, he said, "The Shinga Day is Parents' Day." And they're like, and I don't even know if that registered. And it's a big deal, yeah, it's kind of a big deal. And yeah, and then he went to the aarti that was going on. And I was looking at them and I was thinking, do you know what he's just talking about? And they just turned around to look at, Bhagavan, the deities. The reason I was bringing that up is because there is a reason. It's because about what I'm taking from this is if you're educated or you have intelligence, you take to Krishna consciousness. And I was just reminded like how it's quite sad that people who would have at one point had that natural knowledge and inclination from India, for example, don't necessarily have it now, and it's nothing wrong with being, educated and advancing, but it couldn't be any more different. The person they asked, the devotee, couldn't be any more far removed from them, from life experience when they were born, blah 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 blah, and it was just such an interesting contrast that he who's been through a lot in life actually, been around for a long time. And it was just, he was saying with conviction. It wasn't he was being whimsical about it. He meant it. It's a Shingade's Parents' Day, and then it's a big deal, It's kind of, it's almost, you can imagine him being a young lad. It's like, going to this party, going to this rave. It's really cool, like that. And he meant it. But these young men, Indian men, were like, okay. Yeah, it just was interesting how.
If I'm understanding, basically what you're saying is you got a kind of Western person, American guy who has experience and knows what Nrsingadev's Parents' Day is and is firmly convinced how important it is, and then two kind of youngish guys, Indian background, who are like, what is that? And just confused about what Nrsingadev's
just what was going on in the temple, like what's happening here? And it was just
meaning that the this idea, the culture of education, one can become educated in Krishna consciousness. And
I was trying to be different. I didn't want to offend anyone, but just kind of adhering to the lack of education from a place where
A
it,
person who should be familiar
yeah,
with the
like
culture,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. It's just interesting, that contrast. Yeah.
But in one sense, that whole thing is that culture, any place where culture is kind of a certain thing, but there, let's say from India, people have been for many years, and that's why Prabhupada was sort of instructed to come to the West. Bhaktisiddhanta recognized that, India was trying to follow the ways of the West.
Yeah.
People in India were trying to become like Westerners, and he even said that if somehow Western people become devotees, then Indian people will follow, and that was something that very explicitly Bhaktisiddhanta said, because he was recognizing that people in India are very eagerly trying to follow the West. And we see that's what Prabhupada did. He went back with his dancing white elephants,
Right.
and now India is booming. But Prabhupada left India because people weren't becoming devotees. Because actually, even though people aren't educated, they think this is my culture, so I know it.
Yes. That's the
It's like
worst.
being on book distribution.
Yeah.
You meet someone who says they're of a particular faith.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're like holding a cigarette and a hamburger or a bottle of alcohol, or and you can see that they're far away from practicing any ideas of that faith, but yet they proclaim that they are from this specific faith and that they're following. So yeah, it's like education is very much lacking, and therefore people are steeped in ignorance, yet proclaiming that they know or they're educated. Oh, interesting point. Yeah, it's interesting how all these verses had the word education in it. And I was thinking, well, why did Prabhupada... And also, like, Prabhupada just pulled all these verses out. I mean, where... Chaitanya Bhagavatam, it's like, what? It's like, okay. And I'm wondering if somehow this this purport of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur had put those there or something. Of course, Prabhupada, obviously knows Chaitanya Bhagavatam, but he honed in on the point of education. And I was thinking how, that is the real key to success in being able to hear and understand the super soul and being connected with the super soul, is that we have to become educated in Krishna consciousness, and then we can become connected. Basically, it's like Bhakti Mam Abhijanati, only by devotional service can I be understood. So Krishna says only by the process of bhakti. But Prabhupada really honing in on education, which is interesting, really interesting. Yeah, everyone has dormant love for Krishna, and by culture and education, that has to be awakened. Really interesting. Okay, I think we'll conclude here. I have to crack on. And nice to see you all again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.